Imagine falling in love with a girl, and then realizing she's actually a robot from the future. That's exactly what happens to Jiro. The story begins in 2008. A boy named Jiro was walking around, feeling sad because he celebrated his birthday alone every year. He went to buy a gift for himself and couldn't help but remember his last lonely birthday. That's when he noticed a beautiful girl smiling at him for some unknown reason. She had stolen clothes from the mall, and no one seemed to notice. She looked at him silently, as if she had known him for many years. She ordered a ton of food, which made Jiro worry about his wallet. Watching her eat like a starving alien, he could only think about how many plates he'd have to wash just to pay the bill. When the bill finally came, he felt like his heart would stop. But the girl said she would take care of it and told him to wait outside. Instead, she ran out onto the street without paying. Seeing her, Jiro ran after her too. The restaurant manager chased them, trying to collect the money, but they finally escaped. Once they were safe, the girl asked Jiro to close his eyes. Then, she told him she had come from the future, and suddenly disappeared. When Jiro opened his eyes, the mysterious girl was gone, leaving him feeling very sad. In the present, strong lightning flashed at one spot on the road. When it faded, the same girl who had appeared here a year ago came out again. As she walked, she came across some goons searching for their stolen goods. Seeing her alone, they surrounded her, but she grabbed their leader and threw him aside with incredible strength. A thug who fancied himself a Bruce Lee got knocked out with just a single punch. After that, she went to the mall and grabbed a bunch of clothes. When the managers tried to stop her, she knocked them out with an electric shock. Meanwhile, Jiro was celebrating his birthday alone in the same restaurant, just like last year. He was surprised to see the girl appear suddenly. She looked a little different from last time, singing while her head moved like a robot. Finally, she shoved Jiro's head into the cake and poured champagne all over him. Before he could say anything, a man stood up with a gun and started shooting indiscriminately. The girl immediately covered Jiro, saving his life. The shooter was about to set the whole place on fire with gasoline when the girl smashed a bottle on his head and rushed at him with lightning speed. She snatched the gun and forced him to drink all the gasoline. Then she threw him out of the window effortlessly. The shooter was vomiting gasoline when a burning cigarette fell on him, and he was burned to ashes instantly. After that, both of them went to Jiro's house. He started removing tissue papers and bikini posters from the room. Suddenly, a strange light shone from the girl's eyes, and inside it, the man could be seen. It was then revealed that the girl was actually an advanced robot sent by future Jiro to save himself. The older Jiro told present-day Jiro that a major accident would happen soon, and only this robot could save him. Jiro was stunned by the revelation. After a while, he tried to approach the robot, but it knocked him out with an electric shock before he could get close. From the next day, she stayed with him all the time. When she realized Jiro was running late for class, she picked him up and ran like a bullet. She was so fast that the world seemed to move in slow motion. With her incredible speed, she got Jiro to class on time. That evening, Jiro turned her into a normal-looking girl and took her to meet his friends. But after just one drink, her robotic lights went out, and she suddenly spun her head around, just like in a horror movie. Jiro quickly pulled her away, while his friends stared in shock. Next day, Jiro was at work when a truck driver fell asleep while driving. The truck was racing towards the little child, but right at that moment, the robot rushed in like lightning and saved the child. After spending so much time with her, Jiro started falling for her. He used to dress her up like his girlfriend and would sometimes try to get too close to her. But his robot girlfriend was tough. Whenever he tried anything naughty, she didn't hesitate to give him a serious scolding. Still, there were plenty of advantages to having such a powerful robot girlfriend. One day, when some of Jiro's money fell under a bus, she lifted the bus and said, "It's okay, baby, take it out safely." He even used the projector in her eyes to study for his exams. Apart from everything else, Jiro always took care of her. But at night, she would go somewhere, and when she returned, her face was often covered in mud. Jiro never understood why. In fact, she spent the whole night saving people from accidents. The night before, a building had caught fire, but no one died because the robot arrived just in time and saved everyone. One day, she told Jiro that he should visit his village at least once, because later in life, he would regret not going. When Jiro heard about his village, he burst into tears. His childhood village had been completely destroyed in a devastating earthquake, but the robot told him that he could go back to the time before the earthquake. He immediately left for the village. When he arrived, everything was just as it had been. He saw his younger self and his mother. He also found a picture that he had hidden as a treasure in his childhood. Seeing it, his eyes filled with tears. He thanked the robot from the bottom of his heart. After this, he returned to the present. Now, Jiro was wondering if the robot's heart could really feel love for him, or if all of this was just happening in his own mind. The next day, he saw on TV that the police had surrounded a school. A terrorist had taken the children hostage. Suddenly, a girl burst into the building, grabbed the criminal, and threw him out of the window. The police immediately arrested him. Seeing this, Jiro was overjoyed. His girlfriend was actually a superhero. He fell even more in love with her. He tried to kiss her, but the robot didn't have feelings like a human. He felt sad, knowing the robot would never feel the same way he did. But love doesn't follow logic. To try to make the robot jealous, he started showing affection for another girl. But it didn't work. She didn't react at all. Jiro went outside and tried to kiss another girl, but she slapped him across the face. Seeing this, the robot lifted the girl into the air and threw her into the water. Jiro became furious and started shouting at her. They arrived at the same place where they had said goodbye last year. Jiro asked the robot to close its eyes and stormed off in anger. Jiro started living a normal life, but he still missed the robot. The robot, however, kept watching over him, making sure he stayed safe, even though he didn't want it. It even sent him a pet cat to keep him company. One day, while Jiro was in his apartment, a sudden and terrible earthquake shook the entire building. He looked out the window in fear as the buildings around him crumbled and were swallowed by clouds of dust. His own apartment began to collapse. Just as he was about to fall, his robot girlfriend saved him at the last moment. The entire building collapsed around them. Jiro hugged her and apologized, but the danger wasn't over yet. The entire city lay in ruins. People were running through the streets, desperately trying to save their lives, while huge buildings collapsed all around them. The robot girl grabbed Jiro and led him toward a safe spot. Suddenly, a massive truck came barreling toward them. It knocked Jiro to the side, but the robot took the hit herself. For a moment, Jiro thought she was dead. But a few seconds later, she emerged completely unscathed. Overjoyed, Jiro hugged her tightly, but the robot noticed a building collapsing right behind them. Realizing they didn't have time to escape, she pushed Jiro toward a nearby vehicle with all her strength. The building crashed down on her, but Jiro barely had time to process it. The ground shook violently, splitting open beneath them. Jiro held on with all his strength, barely keeping from falling. His robot girlfriend was still alive. She tried to escape, using all the strength in her hands, but her lower body broke and was left behind. Despite that, she crawled toward Jiro using only her hands. She caught Jiro's hand and pulled him up. Seeing her condition, Jiro became very scared. Robo-Girl even told him to run away to save his life, but he was not willing to leave her at any cost. Seeing this, she smiled and said that now she understood the true meaning of love. Then, the earthquake tremors returned, and she pushed Jiro away once again. A huge stone fell on the robot, and poor Jiro cried out her name in grief. After the earthquake ended, Jiro searched through the rubble for his girlfriend. He found her hand and hugged her, but she had already sacrificed herself. Jiro cried and begged her to get up, but sadly, nothing happened. 61 years after the incident, we see that Jiro has grown very old. It is revealed that after years of research, he succeeded in reviving the robot and restoring her memory. They loved each other deeply. They celebrated Jiro's birthday, and once again, the robot playfully smashed his head into the cake. Holding each other's hands, they watched the sunset together, and Jiro took his last breath. Many years later, a girl came to a museum and saw a robot that looked exactly like her. During the auction, she bought the robot by paying the highest price. As she explored the robot's memories, she gradually fell in love with Jiro. She decided to go back in time to meet him. This was the same girl we saw at the start of the story. She fell in love with Jiro as soon as she saw him but couldn't say anything, because she knew she would have to return to her own time. She asked Jiro to close his eyes so he wouldn't see her tears, and then she walked away crying. When Jiro was searching through the debris for the robot, she went to him, because in reality, she hadn't returned to her own time. Now, she had decided to spend her entire life with Jiro. And that's where the story ends. Have you ever truly loved someone? If you have, tell us about it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And if you enjoyed watching, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe.